Hey, are you a new or struggling trader? Well, it just so happens that I coach people just like yourself on the principles of method, mindset, and mastery, which will help you go from where you are now to making hundreds or possibly thousands of pips per week. Visit travelingtraderpro.com to schedule a free strategy session with me, Kyle, the Traveling Trader, today. That's travelingtraderpro.com. Welcome, everyone, to episode 3 of Inside a Trader's Mind. I am your host, Kyle Doherty, with my co-host, Sammy Tovar.
Hey.
We are back again today, but before we get into anything, we're actually going to go over some charts with you guys and share the top trades of the week because there were some monsters out there.
Monsters, man.
So
Good
I can't wait to get
brother.
into that. So let's go over that real quick, and then we're going to dive right into the podcast.
Right on. Here we are.
All right, here we are. The first one we're going to talk about, personally, not really one of my favorites, but recently Australia, the Australian dollar has been one of my favorites. So with this one, we're going to just like rip through the hour chart real quick, guys. We had a massive low of the month reversal here. Massive on. So all of these trades I'm going to talk about happened on the 6th. So if you guys this was the time to take the trades like this upcoming week. So on the 6th here, we had an hour chart. We had massive oversell on Australian dollar, US dollar, and it went long for 3 days. Okay. Now guys, if you took the London position on the 6th, right? You would have ended up with 167 pips, which is incredible. And now you had multiple different scaling points. So let's just look at the 15-minute chart real quick. I took this one.
I took Tuesday. I came into Tokyo on Tuesday. I let it run for all the way through the goalpost, which is kind of an advanced trade, but we can see it on the 15 still.
Absolutely. So
there it is.
So this one was like on the 15 was kind of ugly. On the 6th was kind of ugly. Realistically, the cleanest point of entry would have been Tokyo the following day. So that was an incredible one. But you had a Tokyo entry, and then you had
to the 800 is all I took.
Yeah, right. See, 800's a good. So the only time I get out of the 800 is when we don't have a low of the month. So if we have a low of the month, like I'm in staying past the 800. So we had multiple entry points. We had one here on in Tokyo on the 7th, and then another one in New York right before the equities open. Right here, you could have kind of sat in this for a couple of days, another 80 pips there, and another 135 even the following day right here, and a little late in London around what's that, 1300? What's that, like 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time?
3 a.m. West Coast, 6 a.m.
Oh, yeah,
6 a.m. on the East Coast.
Yeah, 6 a.m. East Coast, and then you got another
last push. Look at that.
Yeah, you could have ripped another 67 pips, so you would have been well over 300, 200 pips. At least 250.
Yeah, you did multiple entries. Yeah, because the first one I took, I think, was 69 pips or something crazy. It was and then really
there's your week one pair right there.
Yeah.
But we got
I traded the 3 OS pairs, and I was done on Tuesday. That was it. Man, beautiful. It was over. I didn't even go back.
You don't even need to go into anymore. So let's look at another one. CAD Yen, another one on the 6th right here. CAD Yen had low of the month right here. You can actually kind of tell as the Bollinger Bands here on my chart start to compress, and you can see here we got a solid entry on somewhere in London. You could probably, the safest one would probably be New York at the equities open when it bounced right off that 50 moving average right there, and you can just rip that 50 pips. And so scaling down to the 15, where are we in the 6th? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so we got a nice railroad track right here in New York. Could have jumped to that one for 30, 40 pips. And then the following day right there, you could have jumped in Tokyo. I mean, this one didn't even come back and touch the 50 moving average until yesterday or 2 days ago.
Yesterday,
and then it kind of, So Wednesday. This one, your best entry, I feel like personally, I feel like the best entry would be on the hour chart right here at the end of the day here. But if you don't want to pay that swap fee, you can just wait until New York on the 6th. But I would have taken it here because I'm, I get the equity to back it, and I'm brave enough because just I know. So pretty cool, pretty good one on that one. So this
it's
one,
just, I think like waiting for those extreme time frames to like show you their hand, right?
Exactly.
For
the hour, it's
bottom,
waiting for those high,
tops.
it's waiting for those high time frames to show you those extremes. That's where you can
Right.
really nail some incredible trades. So
right, absolutely.
This was a good one. This one gave you, if you entered in New York, this one gave you well over about 200 pips. So I mean that's fantastic. And that's what, 3 days worth. You sit in it, kind of manage it. So the next one here we're going to take a look at is pound Australian dollar.
I was thinking of something when you said sit in it and manage it. So there's a bunch of methods, and we'll dig in as this podcast rolls out about what how to manage a trade. And I know, like, for me, I don't like sit and stare at the chart to manage a trade. If I'm on an hour chart, you got to give it time and have some rules in place to manage a trade. Right? It's not this like this. It's maybe like you come and look at the chart like a couple times an hour just for a few minutes to make sure you didn't get a spike bar or some kind of crazy reversal. Whatever the case is, you got to manage your trades, but at the same time, it's like you don't have to stare at the chart. It's like whatever time frame you're on.
That's a
check the candle.
That's a good clarification, because that's exactly what I mean when I say it. Like, you're just kind of flip open the laptop or your phone if you got it, and you're just looking at what's going on. You're not adjusting anything, or you're not like taking new trades or doing analysis on your phone or anything. You're just like, if you see some crazy reversal and you're like, it might be time to get out, that's when you close it. That you're not doing anything crazy. But back to pound os right here. This one was incredible. This one hit a nice. So it came off the high of the month, just at the end of November, in the beginning of December. You can see here once again we have our Bollinger Bands compressed above the overbought line. So we had a beautiful double top span between both days on the 6th and the 7th. 7th is your best entry here in Tokyo. If you really want to take it, you could have waited until late in London if you really wanted to take it. But realistically, your best entry is Tokyo. So, I
was so mad. I loaded up on all the OS pairs, longing them, and I knew the fractional disparity was going to kick in on Euro OS.
Yes, sometimes I forget because I get so involved in like the pairs that I'm trading. I'm like, oh wait, fractional disparity is a thing. We're going to do a whole podcast on that one day. We're going to do a whole episode on that. But so this one gave you a nice double top right in Tokyo, and this one got you like 250 pips in that one day. Like that's incredible. And if you really were brave and you wanted to hang on to it, which you totally should have, you would have ended up with almost 400. Like, that is massive. That's a massive trade on these currency pairs like that. Like, with one entry, like you could have had multiple different entries, well over 1,000 pips on this bad boy. So,
and you know what's so funny, Kyle, is you and I trade the same method, right? And my goal for the week is like 100, 150 pips. Your goal is like 1,000 pips. You know what I mean?
Because my trades are very infrequent now. Like, so I am not taking, like, back in the day, like, and we'll talk more about this probably in later episodes. But I started trading on the lower time frames, but now I'm like on the higher time frames. So I'm only waiting for these extremes now, because rather than take all these tiny little trades and get like 20 to 40 pips, right? I'd rather just nail like 400 for like in the 2 weeks, and that kind of like makes up and averages out to like, way more than taking like 20 pips a day. But I just waited because I think it's better to be patient and wait for these big massive trades than to try to trade every day, which we're going to talk about today. So so let's jump into our last one real quick. SPX 500. This one gave us a really, really nice long trade on the 6th this week. So on the hour chart, I mean, we do have like some good indicators and stuff giving us away. So we have our like price divergence here, but it's kind of ugly. So let's scale down to the 15. The 15 is also kind of ugly. So normally when that happens, when I see this, when I know, right? So because you're looking at the previous day, it hit a low, it's oversold, right? It's got to come back up. It's waiting. It's in the Bollinger Band's compressed. So at this point, like at the 15, if it's ugly, I'm scaling down all the way to the 5, and I'm going to see what we can find out of it. So on the 5, you can actually see a much better, clearer version of this. So at equities open here, it gave us the nice, beautiful shark fin break in the Bollinger Band and the sharp reversal that we needed to go back to hit it back up. So this one was like 560 pips.
Man,
This move, this was an incredible trade, and it doesn't look like much, but it was. So, and we know, right, since I do these types of trades all the time, we know we're hitting a low. It retested 3 separate times over the last following day, the following week, and then it recepted 3 separate times, retested, and then it's going to rocket all the way back up. So this one I held from here all the way until the end of the 7th. So I'm looking at roughly about 1,400 pips on that one.
Damn.
So yeah, solid trade. You just got to know. You just got to be brave to hold it. When you do the analysis, you got to trust. You have to trust your. You have to trust the method. Like you got to trust the analysis. If you don't, you're going to be bailing on pips. You're going to leave money on your table. Yep. So that's it for the. We're going to cut it there for the the trades of the week. But those are our trades of the week. And now we're just going to kind of dive right into our podcast here.
Dive her down.
Okay, so guys, welcome again to the podcast. We are going to talk about today. To trade or not to trade? Ooh. When is the good time to trade? When is it not a good time to trade? I feel like this is an incredibly important subject because you have a lot of traders out there that try to trade every day. They try to force it all the time. Like you can't fucking force the trade, man. You're just you got to do the analysis. You got to make sure like. Some days you're going to find those choppy fucking days. Like if you actually, good example, real quick. If you look at New Zealand dollar this week on the 6th, it chopped on the hour chart. It was just doing.
Yeah.
Like I know you guys can't see me. You guys can't see me on the record, but I'm like, making a range motion.
A sawtooth.
Yeah, it's making a sawtooth. That's a good one.
Right.
So, but that's what it's doing. Like that is a day. Right. And there's some days when, Sammy, and you've seen it, where the entire market does that.
Yeah.
Those are the days.
Order flow, there's no equity pouring in or out. It's crazy.
Yes.
You just got to stay away, right?
Yeah. Those are the days you just
let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question because you trade professionally. Like this is how you make a living. Okay. And it's a big shift, right? And this is where it's like, we got people that are kind of dabblers, learning, hobbyists, maybe a couple professionals listening in. But like the thing is, where did you get your ability to say, it's okay? I know. What gives you the power to say, I know I'm going to be okay and I'll make money in this market if I even have to wait for 4 days for the market to shape up the way I want it?
That is,
what gave you that ability?
That took me an extremely long time to learn. This is all through experience. All right. And like, I'm not gonna frame it any other way. I'm not gonna say there's some secret to it because there's not. Because you're gonna go in there and we're gonna talk about a lot of things in these podcast series. And you're going to hear me say a lot of things that you've either already done or you haven't done yet that you're going to do, because every single time you're going to make all the rookie mistakes. You're going to get too cocky. You're going to close the trades early. You're going to try to force trade. You're going to try to like mess with your method. So this comes all through experience. It's starting to understand that trusting the method is important. Okay.
Right.
So your mindset has to be strong all the time. Because that comes with trusting your method. If your mindset isn't strong and you don't know your method is strong, or you don't think your method is strong, or you don't trust it, you're going to fail. You're going to either close the trade, you're going to force trades in a way that it's going to make you lose. And so it comes through all through experience. You just have to, you work way up. I worked my way up from the small time frames, the short time frames, like 5 minute, 15 minute, to actually executing trades on the hour chart. So now I'm using the day, 4 hour, 1 hour, and I'm executing trades on the 1 hour. So, but it's that comes with patience in noticing these extremes that happen. It's like, so I'm like, at first I'm only looking at the extremes on the short time frames, on the lower time frames, right? Because those extremes happen constantly, like within, hours, but on the,
those moves they don't have a bunch of runway in them. They're like 10-pip moves.
Exactly. So that's one of the things. It's gaining patience over time and learning that. I mean, I definitely recommend, start small, start using the smaller time frames or the shorter time frames to really, get your bearings. I mean, don't take these massive trades. Don't look for 100-pip trades. Cap it at like 20, 40 pips if you're using currency. And by just getting that experience, you'll start to be able to see the bigger moves on the higher time frames. And you'll start to be like, okay, well, this is a nice double bottom on the 1 hour chart. Let's wait for this candle to close and then, get into the pullback. I don't know, like whatever shows up.
I think that's the key. A lot of people go through is not grooming that experience. Everybody just wants it now, right?
Exactly.
That takes work, right? And that nobody likes work, right? There's guesswork, hard work, and framework. But when you learn how to frame your decision making, that's what this is all about, is framing your decision making. And it doesn't matter which time frame you're on. You can extrapolate down from tons of, like 2 months ago, or like a month ago, I think it was a month and a half, something like that. That stupid Bitcoin made a giant, on a weekly chart, a double top. And it collapsed from 69 grand. It was 47 grand today. But like that thing was set up on the weekly chart. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
So like,
isn't it funny how this method kind of translates to everything?
Oh, it translates across any financial instrument.
It's
right?
wild.
You were just doing options trades. Like,
yeah.
Your dad made a pile on options.
Sometimes I just feed him the options trades, but So, but I mean, that's a good point to bring up, because you don't want to just live to click that button. Right. Like, you gotta, like, the importance of like having rules and a checklist. That's everything. And if you're not following those rules, you are going to fail. Like you have to discipline yourself. And like every rookie trader, you're all going to do it. Okay. You're all going to make the mistake, and you're not going to follow your system, and you're going to forget the rules, and you're just going to be like, let me see how I can change this and reinvent the fucking wheel. Like, no, dude, like I'll tell you, man, there are hundreds, maybe even thousands of strategies out there, right? Every single one of them work. All right. But you must master one.
Right. Totally.
Dude, that's what you were saying to me like 2 years ago. You gotta master one, Kyle.
It's like, dude, just learn each part of your check. Here's kind of what it boils down to. You just hit the nail on the head, okay?
Yeah.
Every strategy works, right? Because really, what it boils down to is it you're planning your trade, but on the backside of planning your trade, you have to trade your plan. Right.
Yes.
So
yes.
Another grasshopper moment for you.
I like that.
Seriously. Yeah. Plan your trades and then trade the plan. So let's talk about example. You just mentioned a checklist.
Yes.
If you don't have like a checklist to follow, like literally, even if you print it out, laminate it, put it next to your computer, and just get a grease pen or a eraser Sharpie or whatever. So you could just like be like, is that present? Is that present? Because, we talked about being a lonely trader like a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
At 3 a.m. on the East Coast, or, at 5 a.m. on the West Coast, you might not be thinking of 5 or 6 different data points, and you might miss one. And the whole thing is the probability model, right? So your checklist is like increases your probability.
Exactly. I think, we're probably going to talk about that. I feel like we're just touching on all these subjects that we're going to talk about later on.
I know.
Like, I don't want to talk about them all.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, it's true. It's a really good point, because if you don't stack that motherfucking data, Like, and that's
Dude.
all part of the
Yeah.
checklist. It's getting that, it's increasing your probability of winning by stacking data and following a checklist, following a set of rules and never deviating from those fucking rules. Because
Right.
you're like, it's just, that's how important it is. It
Uh,
like, I
I'm
hope
gonna
everyone listening is really sinking that into their heads.
because I'm even going to jump on it even more with you is about like that following the rules, right?
Yes,
It's like if it's not there, it's not there.
right.
Okay. If you, I don't, and this goes for any method, like you just said, if you've learned one of thousands of methods and you're failing at it, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Somebody took the time to actually publish that method and put their work and time into making it an education tool for you to use.
Very
Okay.
true. Yeah,
And if somebody's done it and other people have done it, why can't you do it? Right. And
right.
the whole thing boils down to is you're not following the rules. You're not stacking the data. Maybe you're not taking the time maybe to learn why and how all of it moves together. Right. And that's a whole
Absolutely.
other
Yeah.
podcast on rituals that we'll get into down the
Oh,
road.
yeah, we're gonna
We
I got
got hundreds of these things, huh,
hundreds
Kyle?
of these things. Yes. Yeah, we got some really good subject. Like this is a really good subject to talk about is like just having that checklist. It's in like I already said it like it's extremely important, but I'll just say it one more time. It's extremely important to have because if you're not following that checklist, you're going to fail. I said that like
Yeah.
4 times already this episode, but I just said it again. Sink it into your skulls, my friends. Anyone's
Yeah.
listening there, get it in there. Let it burrow into your brain.
Yeah. If you're trading any method without a checklist, which are your rules, if you don't have rules that are clear rules of engagement to follow, you are going to lose money trading. It's not even a negotiable.
Absolutely. I mean,
I could say that
I have
with
been there.
certainty. Right.
Like, yeah, you and I have both been there. You and I have both
Right.
like we just like kind of threw the rule book out the window and like what was that
100%.
like? I think it was like last June. I did exactly that. I
You
just
did.
threw out everything I knew about
Yep.
Forex, and I was just like, oh, I'm just gonna click this button,
Yeah.
and then like I'm like, I don't know why this is happening, Sammy, and he's like, are you following the rules?
No.
Like, oh no, I threw everything out.
Yep. Totally.
It's like, oh, that's why, you idiot. So
you're not unique in that, and we're going to have one of our members come on as a guest like probably in the next week or so and talk even more about that.
oh yeah, no, that'll be great to have him on. I can't wait to introduce him on the day, guys. So
for sure.
But yeah, absolutely. So I guess to wrap it up, realistically, if the market sucks, don't trade.
Yeah, that's it.
Just don't fucking trade it.
Kick
If
back.
you got it, yeah, if you got it. Exactly. Wait a day. Like there's always going to be a good thing to touch on before we go really is the FOMO, like fear of missing out. Okay.
Right.
And that's what a lot of traders like. If you see one of the days where the market's chopping or something like that and it sucks, but you're trying to force that trade because your fear of like, oh man, I need to get these pips because trading is an addiction, man. It's an addiction. But if managed correctly, everything in moderation. But everything in moderation. But if it's managed correctly and you do see the signs like, okay, this is not the right day for me to trade, just wait. I promise you, you can make double or even triple the money in 1 to 2 days if you wait.
It's so hard to make up losses.
It really is. Like you're either digging yourself out of a hole all the time or you're playing it safe. And like there's nothing wrong with playing it safe. Take a day off. Take a couple of days off. Your head isn't right. Take a day off. The market sucks. Take a day off.
It's going to be there when you come back.
Yeah, right. It's not going anywhere unless we have a massive society collapsing apocalypse.
Yeah. If the markets don't function like and they're there, there's a lot more going on than
exactly.
We're not trading for a living. You might not have a shelter over your head if that's good.
That's true. The world is over. So
yeah, the world's over. But anyway, on that note.
Yeah. So with that note, I'll leave you guys with that. If the market sucks, don't trade. So thank you so much for listening, guys. And if you could subscribe to the channel, Traveling Trader Pro on YouTube. Also, you can find us on Spotify. And if you're listening on Spotify, please share this podcast with your friends. Subscribe to this so you don't miss an episode. Also, you can follow me on Instagram at That's Mr. Doherty to you. And
they can book it. They can go to transformmytrading.com or travelingtraderpro.com to book a call with you.
Absolutely, guys. If you need
session.
some strategy sessions, some coaching, I am always available to help a struggling trader. So thank you so much, guys, and we will see you soon.
All right. Cheers.